One of the ways that we've implemented our global curriculum into our academy curriculum is through history. One of the units we teach at GCSE and in Key Stage 3 is World War One. And earlier in February we took our pupils to Belgium and to France for a trench experience.
I went on the battlefields visit to Belgium and France, and it was incredibly enjoyable. I got to see a lot of things that I've read about, for example monuments and the trench warfare that is so almost legendary when it comes to military scholars like myself. The impact it had on me personally, you see a lot of lists in books with the lines of the dead. When you visit the cemeteries there and you actually see the gravestones and the names, it really does hit home how many actually did sacrifice their lives in such a sort of gruesome conflict. And the same with the Men in Gate ceremony, with the last post being played and the marching band through the streets. I mean, the roads are closed off, even foreigners and the Belgians there as well. They all sort of take it very close to heart because it was something that was fought over in their land. So that was quite a big impact on me. Definitely. Especially towards younger years in the school who will be doing GCSE history, even if it's not a part of the subject that they're doing, if they're not doing World War One specifically, it's always good to sort of get there and get a bit of knowledge as well. So yeah, it's also a really good sort of social event. You get a lot of people make friends, so yeah.
Well, back in Easter I went to South Africa. I've always wanted to go there, just because it's so different to England really, just from the wildlife and their culture. The school was amazing. It's like all the children really value their education and really respect being at school, whereas people here sort of take it for granted. It's like, oh, I've got to go to school again, whereas I like getting up and going to do it. I really enjoyed going to like the safaris as well, because I'm really into wildlife and everything. I think my favourite part of the wildlife bit was getting to hold this really massive snake, because I really love reptiles. I couldn't wait to hold it. I just loved the whole experience really, because I wish I could go again.
I also went to Africa and there was 12 of us in total. I really enjoyed when we went to the school, because we really got to socialise with all the other students and teachers there, and you just got to see how different things are, not only to how they are taught, but and how their lives are outside of school and what their professions are, although they don't have all the resources that we have. I also really enjoyed the cultural centre we went to. We got to see like a bit of their history and how the African tribes used to dance and how they bring that into their life now. It had a huge impact on myself personally, just because not only just from the school and how you see how much they value their education, which obviously makes you realise that you really need to appreciate what we've got here, but also when we went to one of the aid centres, we walked into a room and there was a woman recovering, and she just had a huge smile on her face, although she'd obviously gone through something very traumatic. It makes you realise that you can come through something alright, and she was just very inspirational.
Well, like Millie, it's really a very large impact. Like the AIDS hospice, just looking at the people in real life as compared to on the telly here, it's so different. So you see them actually like suffering and recovering, and it's just amazing. And then we also visited an orphanage, and those children literally had nothing. There was like 10 of them in each room, but we saw them like when they came home from school, and they all got up and sang for us, and they all seemed really happy even though they had absolutely nothing. And you just think, so people over here don't they think of that sort of thing. They're just sort of there, sort of on their phones and on their technology, taking everything for granted, and they don't feel like if all that stuff disappeared, what would they really be like without it? Whereas those children have nothing and are so happy. I would really recommend like any staff or students going to South Africa. It's just amazing, such a good experience to do, and although it's a lot of money, it's definitely worth going because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity that won't come around again.
Like Mara, I'd 100% recommend it. It was absolutely amazing. I got to do some things that a year ago I wouldn't have even imagined I'd get the chance to do, like visiting another culture, school, and also being able to go on safari. That was amazing. If anybody ever gets the chance to do it, I definitely think they should take the opportunity.